So, hi everyone, I am Grace Salvador, and this time let's discuss my assigned topic, which is the air pollution, the categories of air pollutants, and the criteria of pollutants. So, as I start, let's define first the air pollution. The atmosphere has always been a sink, a deposition in a storage place for gaseous and particulate waste. So when the amount of waste entering an area of the atmosphere exceeds the atmosphere's ability to disperse or break down the pollutants, problem result. It is a generally the most widespread and abused kind of environmental damage. While developed countries have been making progress, air quality in the developing world has been getting much worse. And next is, what is the causes of air pollution? So, air pollution is caused by solid and liquid particles in a certain gases that are suspended in the air. Examples are the car and truck exhaust, the factories, the dust and pollen, mold spores, and volcanoes and wildfires. So, in categories of the pollutants, we have two categories, so the primary and the secondary. So in primary, pollutants are those released directly from the source into the air in harmful form. These pollutants are emitted directly into the source. They include particulates, the sulfur dioxide, the carbon monoxide, the nitrogen oxides, and hydrocarbons. So in primary pollutants, injected in the atmosphere directly. So examples, just like I said, is the sulfur dioxide. So sulfur dioxide produced largely through coal burning, and it is responsible for the acid rain problem. So the carbon monoxide is the odorless, the colorless, and poisonous gas created by incomplete combustion, especially bad with other cars, generates headaches, drowsiness, fatigue, and can result death. So next is the nitrogen oxides. So it's emitted directly by autos and industry. And lastly, the hydrocarbons. The hydrocarbons is an organic chemistry. A hydrocarbon is an organic compound chemistry entirely by hydrogen and carbon. So the secondary pollutants, they are modified to the hazardous form. Are they enter the air or are formed by chemical reactions as components of the air mix and interact. So the solar radiation often provides the energy for these reactions. So photochemical oxidants and atmospheric acids created by these mechanisms are probably the most important secondary pollutants in human health and ecosystem damage. Secondary pollutants are produced reactions between primary pollutants and standard atmospheric compounds. So, go to the criteria of pollutants. The 6 common pollutants are called criteria pollutants. The Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, has set specific limits on the levels of these 6, and they are responsible for most of our air pollution problems. So, this is the 6 criteria pollutants. The sulfur dioxide, the nitrogen oxide, the carbon monoxide, the ozone, the particulate matter, and the lead. So, sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide, a colorless and odorless gas usually present at Earth's surface in low concentrations. A significant feature of sulfur dioxide is that once it is emitted into the atmosphere, it can be converted into the into fine particulate sulfate and removed from the atmosphere by wet or dry deposition. The primary atmospheric source of sulfur dioxide is the burning of fossil fuels. So next is the nitrogen oxide. Highly reactive gases formed when nitrogen in fuel or combustion in air is heated at temperatures above 650 degrees Celsius in the presence of oxygen, or when bacteria in soil or water oxidize nitrogen-containing compounds. The initial product, nitric oxide, or the NO, oxidizes further in the atmosphere to nitrogen dioxide, a reddish-brown gas that gives photochemical smog its distinctive color. Next is the carbon monoxide. So the carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that, even at very low concentration, is extremely toxic to humans and other animals. So carbon dioxide and hemoglobin have a strong natural attraction for one another. So it is a highly toxicity results from a psychological effect. So if there's carbon monoxide in any vicinity, the hemoglobin in our blood will take up nearly 250 times faster than oxygen and carry mostly carbon monoxide rather than oxygen from the atmosphere to the internal organs. Effects range from dizziness and headaches to death. So next is the ozone and other photochemical oxidants, a form of oxygen in which three atoms of oxygen occur together rather than the usual two. So photochemical oxidants are secondary pollution arising from atmospheric interactions of nitrogen dioxide and the sunlight. So this atomic oxygen then reacts with other molecules of oxygen to make ozone. Ozone formed in the stratosphere provides a valuable shield for the biosphere by absorbing incoming ultraviolet radiation. So next is the particulate matter. It is made up of tiny particles. So particulate matter is the term of particulate matter is used for varying microbes suspended in the air we breathe, but in regulations, these are divided into three categories. So the three categories are the PM10 particles up to micrometers in diameter. So particulate matter 2.5 particles between 2.5 and 0.18 microns. The ultrafine particles smaller than 0.18 micrometers in diameter. So lead is an important constituent of automobile batteries and many industrial products. So leaded gasoline helps protect engines, promotes more effective fuel consumption. So however, the lead emitted into the air with exhaust and has thereby been spread widely around the world, reaching high levels in soils and waters along the roadways. Once released, lead can be transported through the air as particulates to be taken up by plants through the soil or deposited directly in the air leaves. So that's all. That's my report, and thanks for listening, and keep safe and God bless us all. Thank you.